Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I am Amanda,
I'm Laura.
And I'm Kendra.
and I think way back on episode like 20-ish, I was in a real big toot to get a whole bunch of reviews and ratings, and then shockingly, since I get distracted by squirrels, have forgotten to reiterate that. Please, guys, it really does help us to get more ratings and reviews. I personally have a difficult time on Google, so if you would just pop over to Apple Podcasts one time just to leave us a rating and review, that'd be awesome. So we are going to continue today our Blue Zones book club. We read the books so you don't have to. And with that, Kay, take us away.
So the premise for this whole thing is we care about you and want you to live better. So spending all of your time taking care of others and not taking care of yourself does not equal recipe for success. We want you to be your best. And so we read things, we watch things, we do things in order to bring them here to you so that you can take the very best care of you. We do the work so that you can just get the high yield info and implement it stat. Just the disclaimer, we've said every time we've talked about this, we are doctors, but we're not your doctors. And this isn't medical advice. This is sharing of information. So just a reminder, the blue zones are pockets throughout the world where greater than expected percentages of people live to 100. So these are clumps of centenarians, basically not just reaching centenarians, but they're also active and living well. Blue zones, quote, they're living long, healthy lives with sharp brains until the end, which is, like all of our goals, right? I mean, hashtag goals.
It's mine.
I definitely want my brain intact or just take me to heaven, right? In this series, The Blue Zone, Secrets for Living Longer, Lessons from the Healthiest Places on Earth. Well, by the way, we'll have the link to the book, and there's also a Netflix series. But Dan, I forgot how you say his name, Amanda.
I think we say Butner.
Okay. Dan Butner mentions that Americans spend $332 billion yearly on exercise, supplements, vitamins, anything. Probably the last TikTok or Insta video they saw that claimed to be the key to longevity or the key to reversing aging or the key to making you Superman for as long as possible. Just want to throw this out there. We may be focusing on the wrong things. We got to keep it simple, sillies, right? And the true thing is genetics are only accounting for about a fourth of the differences in longevity between people. So those that live till 55, we have them every day when the ED, someone comes in, heart attack, drops dead. And we think, oh gosh, bad genetics, because they may have been a marathon runner or at least exercise regularly, ate well, and they're, normal build. However, that's just not the truth. Only a fourth of the differences is really, truly genetics. And the rest is determined by environment and lifestyle. Hopefully, what we can do here when we talk about these blue zones is just show you a recurring theme, and that is not out of reach. It's not hard, and you don't have to defy genetics in order to have a sharp mind and stay healthy and keep moving and be active. It's actually not unattainable. So some of the common denominators we've talked to before about people in the blue zones are they eat a whole food, plant forward diet. And what does that mean? Well, basically, it is things that can be grown, basically. So they eat nuts, beans, and honey, and, some of the other things, but they just may not eat as much dairy, and they definitely don't eat, fried chicken. So the other thing is instead of trotting off to the gym, they just move naturally and frequently throughout the day. So these are the people that think about ways to incorporate movement. Even here in America, even if you don't live in these places where there's a park right outside and you can just go, or you live on a farm and you go out and, work on your gardens, you can park at the very back of the parking lot, right? Or think about ways where you can get steps in on the way to the grocery and the way back. Go to the farmer's market, walk around the farmer's market instead of just the grocery. Just things that happen naturally, but they also happen on the regular. There's daily rituals like prayer, meditation, honoring ancestors, napping, yay for napping, that help them downshift and lower stress. And the thing about these communities are that they are communities. We've talked about this before, the importance of community and the importance of being surrounded by people that hold your same values, that take care of each other, and that are just there, right? And so it's not, these blue zones are not isolated villages of 1 to 2 houses, like compounds of just like a few people. These are actually, cities But the big thing is that they have the same values in mind and they value community. They also tend to honor and keep their elders close. So, like I said, these are multi-generational families, but there's also maybe not just families of origin, but families that you've grown up with, neighbors that you call family, people you work with that you call family. This also contributes to a healthy social support system. So this is not an isolated thing. I think back to one of the things we talked about after COVID, loneliness being one of the risk factors for a lot of things. And so having that healthy social support system is essential. And I know people have come out on this side of the pandemic like, I don't need people. I'm better off alone. People hurt people. They really want to focus on the negative. But if we get back to that idea of family, if we get back to the idea of just sitting there and being present, that is a healthy support system. And that really reduces incidence of mental illness. They give each other that sense of purpose. So every day they wake up, there's a sense of purpose, which also is the antidote to loneliness, to depression and anxiety, is waking up every day with a sense of purpose, whatever that may be. And so we've already touched on Sardinia and Nicoya in Costa Rica. And so now we're going to bring it home to the United States and Loma Linda, California.
Yeah. So Loma Linda is about 60 miles east of Los Angeles, and it houses a population of around 9,000 Seventh-day Adventists who live about a decade longer than the average American. It's interesting. Where I live, there's a large Adventist community, and it's neat to see the influence it has even on the grocery stores. Well, there's a lot more plant-based offerings than you might otherwise see, certainly in Alabama, because we have the Seventh-day Adventists here. So nice. The Adventists credit 8 what they call natural remedies revealed in a prophecy to Ellen G. White, who was one of their founders. They credit these natural remedies for their longevity, and they are pure air, sunlight, rest, exercise, a plant-based diet, drinking water, trust in God, and abstemiousness, which is a new word
of
to
the
me,
day.
but
Yes.
Abstemiousness, which means not being self-indulgent, especially related to eating and drinking. So, yeah, that's a good one. Abstemiousness. Adventists have a large percentage of non-drinkers, non-smokers, and vegetarians. So, yeah, we already knew that those were healthy habits to have. Ellen White had taught them that taking care of one's body is a religious duty. It's part of their religion. It's actually part of their religion to be healthy and keep this lifestyle. They believe their bodies are a temple of the Lord, which must be kept clean and strong. So interestingly, because there's such a large group of people who have these particular health habits, of course, they are a subject of research. And the NIH funded what was called the Adventist Health Study from 1974 to 1988. And it found that Adventists, who are largely non-smokers, had a 70% lower rate of lung cancer. It also found that people who get their fiber from fruits, veggies, and grains reduce their risk of colon cancer by 40%, while those who ate meat several times a week increased theirs by 60%. But not fish. Fish had a protective effect. Finally, it found that eating nuts several times a week cut the risk of a heart attack by up to 50%. And interestingly, as well, they have started a newer Adventist health study, which is a larger study, started it in 2000, and that is ongoing. But Adventist longevity isn't just their plant-forward diet. Their entire lifestyle includes staying active, not smoking, keeping their Sabbath, which is sunset Friday to sunset Saturday, as a day of rest, and trusting in God. And I will also add community. They have a strong, not only their family communities, but their church communities as well. Mm-hmm. So during the Sabbath, they go to church on Saturday and then commune with each other, having potlucks, doing charitable work, or doing other activities. This creates time together free from usual obligations. And I would just like to add a second endorsement for the idea of a Sabbath. And a Sabbath doesn't have to be a religious observance if you're not a religious person, but to choose a day of the week that you are going to constrain your activity some to make it a day focused on rest and family is really transformational. I personally do that. And I honestly think I don't know if I'd be alive without that, just because I personally have a hard time making myself slow down the rest of the week. There's always something to do, always someone to attend to or help, or so many digital distractions happening that having a day where you're not doing all the same things that you normally would do. Like for me, it looks like I don't work on that day at the hospital and I spend that time with my family and my kids and I rest. I definitely get a nap on that day. So it's just something to consider. It's not always something that everyone is able to implement in their lifestyles. But even if you have a half day a week where you're just like, nope, I'm doing things that are restorative during this time, it's a very, very beneficial practice to engage in.
Yeah, and imagine though if everybody observed a Sabbath day or a day of rest. Or imagine if you had a community of people that valued that as much as you do, and see what an interesting dynamic that would be. Just having everyone support each other, knowing how that is valued. And I don't know, maybe we would have a different society, one that wasn't so entitled and so busy, just pumping the brakes a little bit, but also each other valuing each other and honoring one day a week. One day a week, right? Doesn't really sound like much if you sit to think about it.
Yep. So the takeaways from Loma Linda is number one, just like Laura said, find a sanctuary in time. Many, many religions have a Sabbath equivalent. And so that's interesting that this is an integral part of so many ways of living that contribute to our longevity. So maybe it is important. So if you are an achiever, give yourself credit for taking a day off and observing a Sabbath. That's a way to like hack. You do get a checkbox for that day because you're doing something for your longevity and for your family and for your community. So just like the Adventists do, take a sanctuary in time to focus on family, God, camaraderie, and nature, community service, whatever speaks to you, something different than your average. And it's protected. Number two, this is from the book.
And if you need permission, here's your permission.
Yeah.
Because I know that's out there, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like you have to earn it, or you have to work hard all week to be able to do that the end of the week. Actually, no. Here's your permission. Go.
You get legit checkbox credit for doing this. This is a health behavior. Two, watch your BMI. We know BMI is not the be-all, end-all, but Adventists tend to have normal range BMIs, probably from their word of the day, abstemiousness, and also their active lifestyle. They just tend to be more in the normal range than the average American. Number three, get regular moderate exercise. Adventists tend to do low-intensity exercise daily, like walking. We know this is good. Now that we know about zone 2 exercise, this makes a lot of sense. And their low-intensity daily exercise is credited with reducing their chances of heart attack and cancer. Number four, spend time with like-minded friends. Adventists tend to hang with other Adventists who share their values and support their beliefs. Doesn't mean you have to exclude people outside of whatever it is that you believe in, or that you even have to believe in something. But people who are supportive of you, how about this? People who aren't toxic to you, that's just a good idea to hang with people like that. Yeah. Even if they are of the same faith or whatever, if they're toxic, I'm just going to extrapolate that that's not the idea. The idea is people who share your values and support your beliefs.
I love that. I love that concept of being with people who feel like sunshine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I went on a tangent, but it was like, we all brag about really long marriages, but like, who are you? Like, has it sucked the soul out of your life, or is it something that you've grown? And I was like, oh, that hurts. Somebody was brutal that day. But anywho, yes, that is, be around the people that give you sunshine is fabulous Fabulous advice. Number 5, snack on nuts. Adventists who eat nuts at least 5 times weekly have about half the risk of heart disease and live 2 years longer than those who don't. So nuts and seeds are a good thing. Number 6, give something back.
I'll take nuts.
I know you have to say these nuts, but don't.
Yeah, so I will. But here's to adding 2 years to my life and my excuse to have nuts every day.
Exactly. Okay, so give something back. Volunteerism is really encouraged in Adventism. I think that's how you say it. Helping others has the advantage of staying active, finding purpose, and then staving off depression because you're focusing on others rather than just yourself. Number 7, in this particular scenario, a takeaway would be to avoid meat. The longest lived Adventists are vegetarian or pescatarian. Number 8, eat an early light dinner. So they focus their biggest meals earlier in the day. And it seems as if the light dinner that they have early in the evening. So when they said this, it made me think about little old people heading to the cafeteria at 5 p.m. just for a little snack. It seems to promote sleep and a lower BMI. And then lastly, drink plenty of water. That might be where some of these recommendations come from, because in the Adventist Health Study, it showed that men who drank 5 to 6 glasses of water daily had 60 to 70% reduction in the risk of heart attack compared to those who drank less. So that is just fascinating to me.
Yeah. So those are really good hints. And just so you know, we're putting them out there as takeaways, but hey, maybe you just connected with at least one of them, like, snack on nuts. If that really resounded with you, then take that and run with it, because we're not asking, do all 9 or 10 of these things. But if you find yourself, even having a day where you're feeling blue or isolated or lonely, why don't you go to the cafeteria at 5, have that light dinner and spend some time with all the lovely grandmas, grandpas, right? Like-minded community and the company of elders that can share their wisdom and probably be that sunshine for the day that you need.
You would make Mabel's day.
Oh, right. Exactly. So thanks for joining us once again, talking about one of the blue zones. We hope you enjoyed it. And we also want to encourage you to leave a review. Like Amanda said, it really does help other doctors find us. It moves us up on the list. So find us, leave a review on Spotify or Apple, and it will really help us. And also, if you want to find out more information about our Wellness 911 course, check it out on our website, www.thewholephysician.com, to get more information. We take demoralized doctors from fried to fantastic with our easy and evidence-based Wellness 911 program. So until next time, you are whole, you are a gift to medicine, and the work you do matters.